What happens in Pseudomyxoma peritonei? You can see here that the peritoneal cavity, it is studded with jelly-like substance. So peritoneal cavity, it is studded with jelly-like substance. In this case, you can see here, there is collection of mucinous substance or jelly-like substance in the peritoneal cavity. So it is caused by mucinous adenocarcinoma. There is rupture of mucinous adenocarcinoma. What is the most common primary? The most common primary, it is appendix followed by ovary. So patient is having mucinous adenocarcinoma in appendix and ovary, which is responsible for Pseudomyxoma peritonei. So first question, the most common primary, it is appendix. It is appendix followed by ovary. So appendiceal mucinous adenocarcinoma followed by ovarian mucinous adenocarcinoma. If you see the incidence, it is equally common in males and females. So Pseudomyxoma peritonei, it is equally common in males and females. And in which particular age group it is seen? It is seen in 4th to 5th decade. 4th to 5th decade. Right. Now what is the problem here? In this case, you can see, since there is collection of this jelly-like substance in the peritoneal cavity, so what happens? Suppose patient is in the lying down position. So this is the bowel. Over the bowel, what happens? There is collection of this jelly-like substance. So this jelly-like substance, it is going to compress the bowel. Initially, patients are asymptomatic, but what happens? Whenever there is significant accumulation of this jelly-like substance, it is going to compress bowel. Because of this compression, patient will be having intestinal obstruction. And obviously, what kind of intestinal obstruction? It is partial or complete? Partial. That's why patients are going to complain that they are having colicky pain after meals, but they pass feces and flatus. And suppose patient is in upright posture, so what happens? There is abdominal distension because of collection of this jelly-like substance. And because of this, what happens? There is increased intra-abdominal pressure. So over a period of time, there is increased intra-abdominal pressure. And if there will be increased intra-abdominal pressure, what will happen? These patients are having the risk of development of multiple hernias. So increased intra-abdominal pressure increases the risk of hernia. Increases the risk of hernia. So what are the clinical features? Most of the patients are asymptomatic initially. Initially, patients are asymptomatic. After that, what happens? There is global deterioration of health, means there is generalized deterioration of health. And why there is generalized deterioration of health? Because the amino acid, it is used up in the production of jelly-like substance. So these patients are having generalized or global deterioration of health. Generalized or global deterioration of health. Clear? After that, whenever there is significant collection of this jelly-like substance, so these patients are having progressive abdominal distension. Progressive abdominal distension. Okay. What are the findings on examination? You are going to notice that there is increased intra-abdominal pressure. Because of that, there will be multiple hernias. So these patients are having multiple hernias. Why? Because of increased intra-abdominal pressure. There will be ascites, but here the cause of ascites is this jelly-like substance which is semi-solid. Usually if you see a patient of ascites, since there is collection of fluid, you are going to notice that there is shifting dullness. But here there is no shifting dullness. So characteristic feature that these patients are having ascites without shifting dullness. So patients are having ascites. It's a question. Ascites without shifting dullness. Why? Because here the cause of ascites, it is semi-solid substance or jelly-like substance. Clear? So what kind of dullness is there? There is non-shifting dullness. This question was asked, ascites without shifting dullness or ascites with non-shifting dullness. It is seen in Pseudomyxoma peritonei. There is non-shifting dullness. Clear? It is seen in Pseudomyxoma peritonei. How we are going to make the diagnosis? So investigation of choice for diagnosis, it is CCT. Here, investigation of choice for diagnosis. Investigation of choice for diagnosis, it is CCT. Now, what is the treatment? Since the whole peritoneal cavity, it is studded with this jelly-like substance. So first we have to go for cytoreduction. What is cytoreduction? Cytoreduction means we have to remove maximum amount of tumor. Second thing, it's impossible to remove 100% of the tumor. Why? Because this jelly-like substance contains the tumor. That's why to take care of this part, we are going for HIPEC. What is HIPEC? It is hyperthermic intraperitoneal chemotherapy. So in the treatment, what we go for? What's the treatment here? In the treatment, we go for cytoreduction. Cytoreduction. So in this case, remove the maximum amount of tumor and then HIPEC. HIPEC. What is the full form of HIPEC? HIPEC is hyperthermic. This is hyperthermic intraperitoneal chemotherapy. Intraperitoneal chemotherapy. So can you tell me there is a similar indication for HIPEC? What is the similar indication? The patients who are having peritoneal metastasis, also known as peritoneal carcinomatosis, in that case also we use HIPEC. So HIPEC is also used for, it is also used for peritoneal carcinomatosis. It is also used for peritoneal carcinomatosis in which there is metastasis to the peritoneum. Okay. Now, in cytoreduction, what we do? You know that the omentum is also studded with jelly-like substance. So what you do? You perform omentectomy. Remove the omentum. Omentectomy. Now there is peritoneum. Peritoneum is also studded with this jelly-like substance. So what you do? You perform stripping. So what you do? Stripping of peritoneum. So stripping of peritoneum, this is known as what? Peritonectomy. Malignant tumor is located in appendix most commonly. So for malignant tumor of appendix, what is the surgery? Right hemicolectomy.